Recording. You don't get the bell back, do you? So, sharing. Okay, let me put the slide here. From the beginning, here we go. Good morning, everybody. It's September 9th, believe it or not. And here we are. So, Natalie is supposed to be doing the pledge, but I have not seen her yet. So place your hand over your heart and stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Jerry, you have words of wisdom to start our day.
I do. In 1855, Frederick Douglass was meeting with a group of slave owners, and they would not or could not comprehend that slavery was morally wrong. And during those communications, he wrote, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men."
It's a great quote.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Thank you. So good morning, everybody. Come on, wave, Jerry. There we go.
Hey, Marnie.
Joe.
Yes, President Barbara.
I love finding pictures of singing guys. It's fun.
Yeah, that's
That
pretty.
That was you a few years ago.
Yeah, before, but the holes in the jeans and the knees, that wasn't fashionable like it is today. But anyway, I thought we'd sing something with Redwood in it. So a little bit of This Land Is Your Land. How's that go?
Good.
Ready? As I was walking down the highway, above that endless skyway, I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is mine. From California to the New York Island, Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
Woohoo! Thank y'all. Motley as usual, but enthusiasm. Cyber Rotarians, we have Mary Graves with us this morning from, Mary, what's your club?
Downtown Club, Santa Rosa Rotary Club.
The Santa Rosa Rotary Club.
Hey, Brian.
Welcome. And good morning, Marnie. We have a cyber guest because Anna is with us from Brazil. Good morning, Anna. Now I had to mute you because you had background noise, so hopefully you can unmute yourself.
Yes.
Yes. Welcome. It's good to see
Hi,
you
Anna.
Hi.
Always.
Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Yeah.
I was just putting a message here. I'm gonna leave because I'm actually working today. I'm like just came a little bit here. Yeah, I'm working. Here's I work from home. Yeah. So bye guys. I miss you.
Bye-bye.
It's always good seeing you.
Check out her hair.
Yeah, we miss you.
Yeah, me too.
So I saw this online and I really like it because this is something that I've really found in all my Rotary travels is there are no strangers. There's only friends we haven't met yet.
Oh.
And it is so true. Everywhere you go in the world and you meet Rotarians and they are almost instantly your friends. Or in your local community. One of the other joys of Rotary, and we aren't able to do it as much now, is going to district functions and meeting other Rotarians in our Rotary district. So Zoom workshop, we were going to do it this week, but I got an email from Michael last night saying, can we postpone it for a week? So we will, but what we really need you to do is send Michael Cook your questions, either using chat or email, so that we can kind of put together a better idea of what everybody wants to know. What do you want to hear about? Again, I've kind of noticed a few people who go in and log into a meeting, and I'm sure you're just going in there to try to fiddle around and figure out how to do it. So that's what we kind of want to cover in this workshop. What do you want to know? Send Michael Cook an email and we'll try to cover it. Okay?
Yep.
So now I get to mute everybody. I remember how to do this. Mute all. There I go. Mute all and current. But you can all unmute yourselves. I get rid of that. So we do have some birthdays. We have John Boletto on the Monday. So I know we all know what he's going to be doing on Monday, don't we? Harvest or crush. You know, I come from the ag side, so I call it harvest. Everybody in the winery side calls it crush. And Joyce, you have a birthday on Sunday.
I do, actually.
And how are you going to celebrate your birthday?
I have no idea because I don't know what to do anymore. So I think what I'm going to do is going to make myself a cup of Kenyan chai, and that will be my celebration because ordinarily I would go out and meet friends, and I'm really missing that. I'm not doing that anymore. So I'll do my Kenyan chai.
That's a celebration. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
And many more.
Thank you.
And Louie, your lovely wife, Marianne, has a birthday on Saturday.
Yes, and if you see, my background is not where I normally am. We are in Pacific Grove. We've decided after 6 months, and we never got a retirement vacation, we're away. So we're in Pacific Grove for 3 nights.
Nice.
Where it's cold, hazy, smoky, and foggy. So we went from the heat to the cold, and we're going whale watching this morning.
Nice. That should be
So that's
fun.
our celebration. And yes, it is her birthday. Thank you for recognizing her.
Yes. Now, normally I'd ask you if you were having dinner at Passion Fish, but I don't know if they're open or not.
Yes, they are.
Oh,
They
that's
are.
our
We
favorite
were at
restaurant.
the beach house last night. We had an excellent deal. And luckily, we didn't have to sit out in the outdoor patio. They converted an indoor section to outdoor use. So it was wonderful. And there were 2 sets of newlyweds there at the same time in this small space. So it was exciting.
Good. We don't have any anniversaries and no Rotary anniversaries. So whatever it is, early September is a slow month, but we do have lots of stuff going on. Monday is a membership committee meeting, and I believe the information is in the members only part of our website so that anybody can log on and attend. And then next week we have our district governors board meeting on Tuesday, and then the club visit on Wednesday. Monday, then we have our normal club board meeting. And then on the 23rd, 2 weeks, we have a volunteer event, and Michael McLaughlin will talk a little bit more about that in a minute. World Cleanup Day, and of course, then we have the Zone Institute. So there is stuff going on. We're not totally in a vacuum. We're just.
Hey, how about, Barbara, what time is that board meeting with the district governor? You know?
I didn't write it down, But if
Okay,
you go in there, it's on the Zoom information.
Okay,
I think
perfect.
it's 6.
Okay, thank you.
Normally we would do it at 4 and then we'd have a club social afterwards, but that doesn't work with Zoom. So, good morning, Gus.
Hey, good morning, Barbara. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Waking up.
Waking up. Now,
Yep.
Diana, Curtis.
There, I'm unmuted. Yeah, this is my husband's truck and I'm going to sell it. And it's a 4-wheel drive pickup with a stick shift that is a 5-speed. 5-speed transmission, and it has a little button on it where you push it for the clutch cancel button. It's got a flatbed, as you can see. And my idea was that I'd first put it up to the Rotary Club, if you knew anybody who would want it, that if they made a substantial donation to our community foundation, that they could have the truck. And I'm going to be asking, I think, $3,500 for it, which is actually below what they suggested on Blue Book. So if you know anyone who's interested, or if you're interested yourselves, if you're willing to give a donation to our community foundation for the club, we'll be happy to give it to you. Thank you.
Thanks,
I'd just like to say that truck was used to put up a lot of fundraising signs back in the day.
Yeah.
Kurt was our sign guy.
Yeah, and it was Kurt's workbench, you
Yep.
might say, and he's got some things that go in the side, you know, so you can, but they probably should be replaced. I don't know what you call them. I'm not that car oriented. So it's in good shape. I had it over at Pauline's Automotive. They went over it thoroughly. So it's in good shape. It's running well. It does have on the passenger side a dent there by the fender where Kurt put it underneath an apple tree when in the middle of the night when he was so very ill. But it isn't too bad. It can be fixed. Anyway, that's what I'm hoping for. So if you know anybody or you're interested, I'd love to see it go for the community foundation. Thanks.
Thank you. This is extremely generous. Thank you. So anybody who knows anybody, if you need information, email Diana. She can send you pictures and information. She says it is smogged and it is currently registered. So all is good. So we have a week in review, and Judy. Judy? She disappeared. She has a new kitty bunny. And
no, I'm here.
There you are. I saw this and I really wanted to celebrate rescue kitties.
And dogs.
And dogs. But this is my rescue kitty, Petey. And you got your rescue kitty, Bunny, who is living on the streets, living in a colony from Dogma?
Dogwood.
Dogwood.
Wonderful organization.
Okay, and then I pulled up the thing for the wrong one. Oops. And I wanted to celebrate Petey because we adopted Petey in February from the Sonoma County Humane Society, and he was found on the streets of Benicia, and they described him as a bedraggled 13-pound cat. He's now obviously not bedraggled, and he's probably closer to 16 pounds now. And I think like you're finding with Bunny, he's just a big love lump. And he must have been somebody's cat that was abandoned. And it just breaks your heart when you think about pets being abandoned because he's just a great house cat. He's settled in nicely, and I call him my therapy cat because he likes to snuggle. And I got the wrong one because I thought you said Dogma, but I really wanted to celebrate.
They're all good.
They're all good.
You can find any of them. Those of you who might still have the daily diversions, I listed about half a dozen of the local ones. But look up Dogma. Dogma's a wonderful organization.
Yeah.
Dogwood. There's one organization, I think it's called Perfect, Purrfect, Perfect Pets, that deal only with special needs animals for those
Snap
who are
cats.
capable.
Yeah. Snap
Snapcat
cats.
does that as well. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and we
So
got
there are a lot of them.
and we got another kitty, Mr. Kitsy, we got from Forgotten Felines.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to celebrate our pets. And then we have some memories. David.
Well, that was about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one on the far right, I grew that potato, but the other two my parents grew.
Yep. And I think I like the curly hair better.
Yeah, I think I do too, now that I've looked at it.
And it looks like you got a haircut.
Yes, in recent time I got my hair cut.
I like Mr. Potato Head.
Which one is Mark?
Yeah.
The one with the glasses.
Ah.
I think they all three are.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian Bauer just reminded me there's also Sonoma County Animal Services for if you're looking for a pet. And also don't forget that the Humane Society has bunnies and guinea pigs and other animals too. So you aren't limited to adopting dogs and cats. But yeah. Oops. Whoops, there we go. So I just sort of wanted to find out, how are we all doing? Is Bill Schlutius with us this morning?
I am here.
You are here. Good morning. It's nice
Good morning.
to see you. You have, your youngest is up at UC Davis and was wondering how they were doing. Are they doing the distance learning? Is it stressful, or do you have them back home, or
Well,
how's your family coping?
Oh, actually, I think they're doing pretty well. So yeah, the distance learning thing, it was a little bit of a transition in March and April when they finished out the semester. And I think that was primarily because it was right in the middle of things and they had to change how they were doing it. They came back after spring break and none of them came back.
Yeah.
So all the classes changed. She stayed with us, excuse me, she stayed with us for about a month and a half and then went back to her apartment. And she's been there ever since in Davis. And she took summer school, took 2 sessions of summer school and hasn't found it to be a problem at all. Surprisingly, one of the classes she took was organic chemistry, and I don't know how they did labs virtually, which is really kind of strange, but she seemed to really get a lot out of the class and she liked it. But it's strange.
What is she studying? What's her major?
Animal science. She wants to be a vet.
Well, she's at the right school.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to get in that school though.
Yeah. Yeah.
She might have to go somewhere else.
Colorado.
Oregon.
Ireland. Who knows?
Yeah. So Rod, how are you doing? Where were you last week? You have to unmute. Rod, you have to unmute. Oops. Okay, this isn't working. Asked to unmute. Okay. I can't hear, Rod, I can't hear you. You have to unmute.
So all of that, you hadn't heard anything.
No, didn't hear a thing. So start over, please.
Okay. We went to Pasadena to take care of our 6-year-old grandchild, who's very rambunctious. Supposed to be starting 1st grade tomorrow. And I was saying it's a classic dilemma of a parent trying to work, her mother trying to work from home and still oversee this child. So we gave her relief for a week. And fortunately, they're in a compound of townhouses, and there's a swimming pool. And so we spent the afternoon in the pool. And amazingly, every afternoon we were the only ones there. So we're all well, but I can't say we're all sane. It's a trial.
Yeah. Yeah. So who else? Bob Keyser, how are you doing? What's new with you?
Well, business is good, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We're up at Azure. I don't think it's stopped. We're just full all the time. But personally, it's my 2 granddaughters are here 2 to 3 days a week, and I'm helping my daughter out with their distance learning, and it's interesting. You treat a 15-year-old girl differently than you treat a 13-year-old girl. I've discovered.
Yeah. How old are they?
13 and 15.
Oh.
I have 10 brothers, so I don't know girl energy at all. So they can work. They run rings around me, but so it goes.
Right. Where do they go to high school?
The 15-year-old is El Molino, and the 13-year-old is a 8th grader in what's the school in Williside? Is it Oak Grove? No.
Oak Grove in Grayton?
No, Williside.
Williside.
Is that the name of the school it's on?
Yeah. Williside's the middle school. Yeah.
And I think she's going to be going to Annalee, so local gals.
Yeah. So you're hanging in there.
Yeah. It's I'm relearning sophomore history and 8th grade math. So.
Yeah, I remember when I was tutoring at Laguna for the math part of the exit exam, having to relearn algebra and geometry and trying to stay that one step ahead of the student.
In trying to convince them that, yeah, you're going to need this later in life, when at this point I haven't. So.
Yeah. Well, with the geometry, what I did, we were in a small workroom. I said, okay, we're going to calculate how many cans of paint we need to paint this room. So we had to calculate the area of the wall space and subtract out for the windows, and it really helped them then picture geometry. Why do you need geometry? Another good way for that is gardening, because you have your plant spacing anyway. Lots of different things to do. Now, Charlie, what's new with you? How are you coping?
Well, we're coping pretty well here. Christine and I are both working at home and have been now for months and months and months. And I've been fortunate to be able to avoid boredom by ramping up my work time with weeks. So that's keeping me busy and focused. And also, and this is a little advance on Happy Bucks, but we self-quarantined for a couple of weeks so that we could attend the baby shower last week of my son and daughter-in-law, who have twins due in November.
Nice.
And so it was really nice to be able to do that and actually give them hugs, which without quarantining, we would not have been able to do.
So great. Thank you. Thank you. Who else?
I'd like to throw in something.
Okay.
Terry Kelly and I are both involved with the Area Agency on Aging. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, essentially it's the go-to resource for seniors and for adults with disabilities. So we're going through a time which is straining all of us, between COVID, between wildfires, between threats of evacuation, certainly with power outages. It makes all of us tense and on edge. It can have debilitating effects on seniors and those with disabilities. So this is just a simple request. If there is someone in your life, even if it's just a neighbor down the street, someone you know who falls into one of those categories, especially people who live alone, just give them a call. Just checking in on you, just seeing how you're doing, wanted to say hello, etc. It can mean so much to them anytime, but especially now. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Good point, Judy.
Can I add something?
Yep.
I'd just like to add that I don't know if everybody subscribed to Erica Steffi's newsletter that she's putting out once a week or so on COVID. I've actually found it very, very helpful. She has some great links there that go to dealing with the psychological issues of the pandemic and how we're all feeling about it. And I just found it very helpful, and it's free, and she puts it out once a week. And what do you got to lose, you know?
Yep. Thank you. Anybody else? Kathy Rogers, I know what you do.
Hey.
You get to walk out at the coast.
Yeah, but today I'm on Mars.
Yeah.
I'm on Mars today. It's like I opened the French doors to, we have a courtyard garden, and I opened the door this morning. I said, go on out, Ollie. It's going to be dark all day anyway. Because I don't usually let him in the garden area when it's, dark.
Yep. Yep.
But it's quite brown, and Mars. We're on Mars, and we didn't even have to pack.
Yep. You didn't have to get on a rocket ship.
So I'm sure the beach is nice, but I don't know what the air is like. It's brown out there. I didn't smell smoke when I went out there, but it's still just disgusting.
Yeah. Yep.
If you look on Facebook, for those of you that I'm friends with, I posted a picture this morning, and on the top, it's from my picture window, and you can sort of see the tree on the left, and it's solid brown.
Yep.
And then on the bottom, it's what the picture usually looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, I had actually turned the light on here in my office this morning because it was so dark.
I've got all the lights on here because I figured, if I turned on the camera kind of thing, you wouldn't see me.
Yeah. Yeah. So Wayne, are you there? I see your name there.
I'm here. Yes.
You're here. How are you doing? You had a little tree problem.
Oh boy, did we ever. I was installing a interlock on our electrical panel so I could plug the generator into the house. This was timely. And while I was finishing that up, I heard this crackling noise that got louder and louder, and pretty soon a large fir tree came down within about 10 feet of the house, crossed the parking lot where my son and his wife usually park their cars. Fortunately, they weren't there, and crossed the road and went up the hill and created a little bit of havoc. Took out our power and our internet, of course. So I've been, last week we got it all back going again, but it was kind of an ordeal. Cutting the tree up and all that kind of good stuff was a lot of fun. It was exciting. An interesting experience. So anyhow, and let's see, what else have I been doing? I have a a tank that actually Charlie installed for our water system 20 years ago, and I decided to clean that out. So I ended up draining that and climbing inside and mopping up all the iron oxide that was in there over a 20-year accumulation. So I've been keeping busy.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. We just want to check in. And weekly announcements, Jerry, quickie.
Yeah, hello. So we are signed up for Amazon Smile. Does everybody know what that is?
Yep.
Okay, if you shop at Amazon and you can designate a nonprofit organization like the Rotary Club of Sebastopol Sunrise Community Foundation, and 0.5% of everything you spend at Amazon comes as a donation to our foundation. We just received a check for $30.36. So thank you all that spent $6,000 at Amazon, and it accumulates. So what I'm going to do is in the chat, I'm going to put a link for how to sign up for Amazon Smile. And when you're not supporting our local merchants here and you need to go to Amazon, you can also help support our foundation.
Great, thank you. Yeah, that's up. Normally it's about $20 or $22. So we got a little bit of a shutdown boost.
You are welcome.
Yep. And Happy Bucks. Anybody have any Happy Bucks? I think Charlie mentioned you might have some Happy Bucks.
Yeah, I definitely want to do some Happy Bucks. I got to double it though because it's twins. So we'll do $25 a piece.
Thank you. And Charlie, do you know if they're fraternal or identical?
They're fraternal, and it's 2 boys.
2 boys. Boy, they will have their hands full with twins.
Yeah, they will. And these will be our first grandkids. So it's very exciting.
Nice.
Double shot.
Yeah.
I have some Happy Bucks.
Oh, okay.
We can't be in New York right now, but we've been watching on Zoom as the grandson number 1 grows. And yesterday he walked for the first time at 10 months. Walked across the living room floor on Zoom for us. So I think that's worth $20.
As a parent of a child who walked at that early age, that is horrible.
Yeah, but we're here, he's there. It's okay.
Be going out to bagel soon.
Yeah.
Good.
Great. Thank you all. Anybody else have any Happy Bucks? Well, then let's go to our program, and Michael Cook will introduce our program, who happens to be Peter Cook.
All right.
So I've stopped
That's the same
sharing.
last name, though there's no coincidence there. Peter's my older brother. He lives, I'll give you a few facts and then turn the floor over to him. He lives in Olympia, Washington. He's a returned Peace Corps volunteer, served in West Africa. He retired as an engineer economist, where he consulted to mostly governments around the world on transportation issues. He's a community activist now for homelessness. And he's a team builder. That's what he does when he gets involved with an organization. I'm gonna get my face up. And he's a recipient of a Paul Harris Fellow Award from us.
Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead, Peter.
Thanks,
And he's
Peter.
gonna share slides.
Okay, yes, I'm going to be sharing a slide presentation. It's really a pleasure to be here. And this presentation is going to be available from Mike afterwards in case anybody would like to take a look at it.
Right here. No,
I'm going to share my screen.
Unless I'm muted.
Okay. Let me go to beginning.
There we go.
Okay, we got that?
It's starting.
Says it started, but we're not seeing it yet.
Leave it, leave it.
How's that? Can you see it?
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so major topics are who am I, though Mike just covered that, so I won't dwell on that. I'm going to tell you what happened in Olympia relative to homelessness recently, and this part of the response was to create a shower trailer program, and I'm going to go through that, describe it, and talk about lessons learned. Okay, so I'm working currently on two main projects in homelessness. One of them is tiny houses, where we're putting tiny houses on faith community property. And this is an example of that at Westminster in Olympia. And the second one is our shower and cleanup trailer project, which I'm going to go into more detail here. Okay, what happened in Olympia? Why are we doing this? So in June and July 2018, there was a dual emergencies declared in Olympia for homelessness and for health. And there are currently an estimated 1,600 to 2,200 homeless people in Thurston County, where Olympia is located. And at that time, there were 300 people who just decided they wanted to camp downtown and became very visible. And as you probably know, there's a 9th District Court ruling which limited what the city could do about this. So the picture on the left shows the camping out in a parking lot that was owned by the city. And that's what it looked like at the time. That's now been cleared out, and they've created a more organized location to care for homeless people. The picture on the right, oops, go back there, shows the tenting where a lot of people, maybe several hundred, are camping out in the woods. So a person on the left became a kind of icon for homelessness. She's living in a tent, obviously, and one of the big deals in Olympia was that homelessness was being kind of treated as a crime. That's why police were chasing people off of these lots and where they were set up, and they didn't have any other place to go. And we were making a point that it's not a crime. Part of the homeless situation is people are living in cars. So there's certain areas, certain streets in Olympia where you find a set of cars and RVs. So main causes of homelessness, as you probably know, is job loss and eviction, mental health, family rejection, physical health, disabilities, domestic violence, and alcohol. And usually it's some combination of the two of these that put a person over the edge into homelessness. Okay, so what did we do about it? We're doing a lot of things in the city, but one thing that my nonprofit is doing is this shower trailer program. So this is a nonprofit started up by a visionary woman named Lisa Gelati. And the original focus of this, it's called Build a Bus Home. And the original focus was to build homes in buses, but when the homelessness and health emergency came about, and then the COVID crisis, it turned out that hygiene and human dignity became more important for the whole community than building homes on buses. So that's what we decided to focus on. So the mission is to provide a community of care. And this is our visionary woman says it's all about community. And for those who lack access, showers, laundry, and other services, we can do something. So, but this is a big deal, actually. In order to provide a service of this kind in the community, first you have to go out and buy equipment. And we got equipment that was former support to forest fighting, for example, which is quite interesting. I'll show you pictures in a second. We had to create an operating plan, mainly to convince people that we knew what we were doing, give enough detail to the city and our partners about that, find the startup funding, of which Community Foundation was a big deal. Our first grant, I heard you talking about Community Foundation. We had to recruit key staff, and this is an all-volunteer operation. We had to find a fiscal sponsor called Angels for Angels, and they really worked out well. And we had to link with a lot of strategic partners, and I'll describe those. Okay, here's the equipment. First of all, on the left, you see it's a 53-foot shower trailer. It actually has 17 showers in it. And the reason that we're cheering there is because that was our first day, full day of operations, which was July 31st. And that's the lead team there that's cheering. On the right are two pieces of supporting equipment that you need in order to run a shower trailer like this. So that red tank truck is a gray water truck, because you have to do something with the gray water, which it means the water, soapy water generated in the showers. Can't just dump it in the parking lot. So we have a gray water truck, and we take that and dump it somewhere else that's designated for that. And there's a generator to support the pumps and the lighting and stuff that's in the shower trailer. So the sponsors that we've lined up so far, Community Foundation, City of Olympia gave us a startup contract for $8,000, which covered repairs to equipment mostly, and getting insurance. Then there's Briotech, which is a special disinfectant that's designated for people who are trying to protect themselves, and it works against the COVID virus, among other things. And we give out samples of this. They're providing us completely free a lot of this. And finally, there's LOT, which is the Water and Sewer Authority, and they give us free gray water dumping, and it's saving us like $20,000 to $30,000 in that. So as you can see, the sponsors, business, municipal, and foundation sponsors, which have really helped us get going. And in addition, there are faith communities. So that Westminster Presbyterian, those tiny houses gave us room to do a demo showing that this thing could work. Evergreen Christian Community was our initial site for 2 days a week that we started up. Salvation Army, a group called Love Abounds, which is in a nearby community called Yem, all providing sites and volunteers, which we couldn't do without. And then there's a wide range of strategic partners. So we have partners that are homeless services, NGOs in the community, several of those. Homeless advocacy group, which somebody who knows like the homeless encampments, because we need to link up with homeless encampments in order to make this work. There's a drug rehabilitation. There's a shelter operator who helped us design our training program. And the cities themselves have been very interested, though quite a bit of red tape to get through there. So here's a couple of pictures of our deployment at the Evergreen Christian site. So at the left, you see a first happy recipient of a shower with the crew that was there at the time. And on the right is a welcome booth that was set up as part of the setup. And you can see bicycles, so people rode there on bicycles, part of our guests. And this is kind of an aerial view of what the setup looks like. So you see the church on the left, and then in the dark blue, you see where the trailer is with the gray water truck behind it, and the welcome booth across the parking lot. And then there's a portable toilet there available as well. So that's a typical setup. Then, of course, COVID itself created some major issues that we had to work with. We had to get all personal protective equipment, and we had to come up with detailed policies and procedures and put them out to our partners so that they would understand we were actually equipped and trained in order to do this work. So people that we've served so far, we're designed to handle 40 people a day, which includes COVID limitations of a maximum 6 at a time. So even though we've got 17 showers in the trailer, we can only use 6 at a time with social distancing. And this has allowed us to serve more than 60 people in the first month that we were set up. And this has been limited mainly due to a lack of transport of getting people to the site where the shower is. I'll go into that in a minute. So what's our plan from here? We're developing a fundraising video right now, which is also designed to recruit volunteers. It turns out that recruiting volunteers is quite difficult when you've got COVID going on, because people, especially in the older community, are not supposed to be out there exposing themselves to COVID. So it's really difficult getting people to do on-site volunteering. We're going to identify more service locations, but this is going along fine. We've got faith community supporting us. We want to expand our organization with more volunteers, increase strategic partners in marketing, and we're going to add a laundry and toilet bus, which is, as you can see in this picture, something that we're working on in the background. So just to give you an idea of the money that's involved with this, our initial case set up and everything cost about $20,000, including quite a bit of money, $15,000 or so for repairs of vehicles, because we bought used vehicles, and used vehicles tend to have problems. So it took us quite a while to get through those problems. Our short-term budget for the 9 months now is $50,000 to $75,000. And an annual budget when we're really operating is $150,000 to $200,000, of which half is in cash and half is in-kind contributions. And we've been very fortunate to get a lot of in-kind contributions, hygiene supplies, discounts on fuel, a bunch of things like that from the community. Okay, what are the lessons learned so far? So what we found is the basic concept of setting up the shower trailer works. We have about between 5 and 8 volunteers there to welcome the guests and test for COVID and stuff like that. Initial demand was low due to limited accessibility, meaning the problem with transport. And we're working now on getting shuttle vans that we can provide to take people from their encampments, for example, or shelters to the shower trailer. Limited marketing. We started out by trying to market by distributing flyers. And actually, Michael is an example of the flyers saying, be our guest, come get a free shower. Here we are. But you have to make sure that people actually see that, and that takes quite a bit to get that out there. And because of limited volunteer support for on-site, we didn't want to push it too far or fast because we didn't have enough volunteers to handle a whole bunch of people, the 40 or 50 we would like to serve in a day. So anyway, field procedures we did for COVID seem to be working fine. Volunteer support made us cautious, a little too cautious, I think, but there it is. Strategic partners are critical. This is something we found out, and we kind of expected that. One of the strategic partners was Angels for Angels. I mentioned they became our fiscal sponsor, and what they provided that we really needed was key management training, because the visionary woman who was running this was not actually a manager. She was a visionary, great communications, could bring in strategic partners, but she really needed help in order to get her thinking around how to manage a group like this. And volunteering scheduling, we've got a great application called VOMO, which allows people to schedule themselves online. So that's a huge help. And we found out that our lower budget, a bit lower than we'd anticipated, actually worked because of the large amount of in-kind donations that we receive. Many people and organizations, when they hear about this, are just thrilled to actually be able to do something like give those donations. And key conclusions is, one, it takes longer than you think to put out, to get something like this actually going. We thought maybe 3 or 4 months, once the equipment was in order, we would be out there giving these showers. But it took us over a year because there were all kinds of things, like we had to get special permits from the city in order to set up. We had to line up the faith communities who were willing to do that, and it takes a while for them to explain to their congregations how this is okay to do. And then another thing we learned was leverage from the strategic partners takes vision. Really, our visionary woman did a fantastic job, and she really needed to work hard to get that vision out and get these strategic partners in. And finally, the fact that there was COVID actually reinforced community support for this kind of project, because it made it so obvious that hygiene was a critical factor. Homeless people were at risk, and that made us really appear to be a useful kind of project. So thank you. And any questions?
Peter, I think this is a really interesting program. I would like to ask you, has there been any concern paid in the construction for the shower facilities to privacy? Are men and women separated? Is each individual area? Is there any, are there privacy issues here?
Yes, that's a good question. Certainly are privacy issues. There are 2 sides to the shower trailer. One is we can designate for women, one for men. And it's kind of inside, looks a little bit like a locker room on each side. So you have a bench and then you have showers. So there is some issues about, even further feeling for privacy that we've been dealing with. And probably the optimum equipment we would have individual showers that you could access from the outside. And we'll probably move to that eventually.
And have there been any concerns about security?
There have been concerns, but we've not had any incidents in all that involve security. You mean like people maybe attacking each other in the showers or something?
Yeah,
like that?
or somebody from the outside coming in. That's why I specifically asked about the women, but for anybody.
Right. No, we haven't had any incidents of that kind.
Good.
But we thought about it, but fortunately, no.
Can I make a comment? This is Wayne. In Alaska, there's a lot of folks who don't have showers, and they have an interesting model up there. There are little businesses around that are combinations of laundromats and showers. And when I was up there visiting my son, who didn't have running water or anything else, we took advantage of them. It cost, I think, $4 or $5 or something like that per person to go in and have a shower. And the shower has a little room where you can change, that's private. You can lock it, and then the shower is adjacent that. And as I said, there's a laundry there as well, so you could do laundry at the same time. So you're doing it mobile, I guess, so you can move it around. But what about having some permanent locations like that, which are actually businesses, and then you subsidize the business so that, or give free showers away to these folks? Actually, our club has done that here locally. They have provided tickets so people could get laundry done, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So what about that kind of a model?
Yeah, I think that's a great model for certain locations where there might be people coming in for services in particular. And in fact, Olympia City is considering it. There's something called urban rest stops that are being created like that, which are exactly like that. And the city is talking to the group in Seattle that's putting those up. So that works, but it's not really, doesn't really help those people who are at some distance away and can't actually get to those locations.
Peter, we have a model of, at our scout camp, since we have girls and boys both in scouting now, where you go into a room, shut the door, you lock it, you undress in there, and then the shower, and there's a basin and even a baby changing thing. But that way, both men and women can use the same facility by going in, locking the door, and you have a enclosed facility that only you use while you're there. And then, you know, I guess my other issue related to this is, when do you have there to clean because of the COVIS, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, okay, good question. Yes, we have, after each use on one side or the other of the shower trailer, we go in and we clean the areas that were actually used. And we spray them with this Briotech stuff I was just telling you about. So there is a specific cleaning operation that goes on each time they're used.
Peter, I have a question about community acceptance. We have just any place you go, or I've seen, when we put stuff like this in a neighborhood or in a community or in a part of town, businesses either reel back and object to it, or citizens thinks it's horrible and they're anticipating crime and they're anticipating, and we have something like that going on now. We have a hotel that the county is purchasing that they'll convert to homeless housing. So I'm curious how you did, what kind of reaction and acceptance you got, and how you've dealt with any negative response.
Okay, that's another great question. We definitely have community reaction, both from businesses and from houses or residents. And that makes us very careful about where we do the setup. And fortunately, in these faith communities, like you saw, there was actually quite a bit of space around the church where we set up at Evergreen, and therefore the businesses and residents were not really very visible to the operation. Now, the next place we're going to set up will be downtown at the Salvation Army, and that is quite visible from businesses. And they basically didn't want us setting up during the week, so they're going to restrict us to weekends at that, I think, for business. Not quite sure what the reasoning is, but that's one of the restrictions we've got there.
City of Santa Rosa had set up, it was a temporary encampment, but it included the shower trailers and it included the Tide clothes, washing machines and dryers and all that. And then it was so temporary, overnight it disappeared. And so that kind of pushed all those clients back out onto the streets and elsewhere. But and I never really heard a logical explanation of why that happened. It just got shut down.
Yeah, we have something similar. It's called a mitigation site downtown, where it was a former parking lot, but it got screened off from the street and made, so it limited access. And there's a shower trailer that's put on the site down there, kind of built into a container that local business is doing. So we have something similar to that. They still have some issues with laundry there, which they haven't solved. But city is actively working on this, which is great.
Well, great. Thank you, Peter. Do we have time? Well, not really, but I know that Michael's going to be sending out copies of your PowerPoint. So I found this really interesting because my son lives in Olympia.
Oh, what's the name of your son?
Pardon?
What's his name?
Andrew Woods. He works for a state agency.
Yeah,
and does he want to volunteer?
Yes, right.
You know, I've been trying to get him. When he used to live in Eastern Washington, and he was in Kiwanis because they didn't have, the little town that he was in didn't have Rotary. And now that he's there, I've been trying to get him interested in Rotary, but I haven't been successful yet.
Oh, sure. Give him my email address. Maybe he'll want to talk to me about this.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you. If you can unshare your screen, and I can go back.
Thank you,
and share
Peter.
mine again. Thank you,
Yes,
Peter.
you're welcome.
And thank you, Michael, for having your brother come.
Barbara?
Before I forget, I want to call on Michael McLaughlin
Thank you.
because we need to talk about.
Redwood Area Food Bank.
Yes.
Yes, so we have scheduled 2 dates where we will go over and assist them in moving food around and doing what needs to be done over there. It's all going to be socially distanced. We'll be wearing masks. We'll have gloves. I think they've done a very good job of setting it up so it's not going to be dangerous for any of us. The dates that we have set up are Wednesday, September 23rd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and on Friday, October 16th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So they have their own sign up and we'll get that link out to everybody. I've sent it out to Michael and to Jim Goodenough. We'll get that out today. And please sign up. I think it'll be good to see everybody, and I think it'll feel good to do something tangible for the community.
Right, so it's 2 weeks.
What's the October date?
October 16th, which is a Friday,
Okay.
and Wednesday, September 23rd, coming up soon.
And the time?
The time from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. So who was number 21 to join today?
No, number 21. That was Nancy Wilson.
Ooh,
Blackjack. Here's your ticket, Nancy. I will scratch it now. The last couple of weeks, they've both
Barbara, I've been
bust.
waiting to get my money in the mail for that $1,000 I won.
Yeah, she's paid up.
Good luck, Marty.
Just put it towards my dues.
So Dan, Needham, do you have our wait clean joke for the day? Dan gone?
I'm here. I haven't seen Dan on. Oh, there he
is.
Yeah.
So, well, I just thought I would share a few of Pat Paulson's, who used to run for president's old campaign slogans, especially given the current campaigns. So he says, I've always said about the future, it lies ahead. And, I'm not, he would say that he's not left wing or right wing. He's a middle of the bird kind of guy. And then, of course, his most famous, as always, I've upped my standards, now up yours.
Thank you. So, Joe, take us away. I'm seeing, I don't know who this is, but somebody's outside and they're showing it's Brian showing the absolutely wretched air quality. And I have to say, I think it's almost darker now than it was when we first started the meeting.
Well, and the other thing is, it's humid if you go out. My mother, God rest her soul, would call this earthquake weather.
Right. Hex. Okay, so Joe, take us away.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until happy trails to you till we meet again.
Thank you all. See you next week, if not earlier, doing something or other. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Have a
Bye.
superb day.
Jim Glom?
I think he's gone, Michael.
Okay.
Okay, so shall I just end the meeting? Are we all done? Anybody have anything else to chat about?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, end meeting. In meeting for all. Bye, guys.